charged. He is, however, producing Marines now in order to try and counter this. Mortis is now bringing a Hydralisk Den into play, and I've put down my Twilight Council in order to try and get Zealot charge out. Taking out this starport nicely there, and going to take out a load of these drones. With fully charged, it takes out drones extremely quickly, so it's going to do a lot of damage to this player at this point. See a Spire going down for Koalk. There's going to be some Muta play going on, and he does have this expansion, which I didn't mention before. Needs to get that saturated. Just massing up the units here, continuing to warp in, keeping the macro up. I do have quite a few minerals here, but I believe I'll be throwing down an expansion quite soon. One old fogey also just massing up the units here and wreaking havoc in Artek's base with these void rays, as you can see. Artek's now landed this starport over here, and he's going to start producing something with a reactor. Lots of overlords here. And yes, there we go. I do throw down my expansion with that excess minerals. I should have thrown down that a little bit earlier, but it's okay. And getting Zealot legs, as you can see there. A few Spore Crawlers going down from Koalk, so now it's reactive play, seeing that these Void Rays could have done a lot of damage to him, but bringing these down just to give himself a bit of defense. Mortis now producing the Hydralisks in the midfield, and these are going to destroy our forces to a certain degree, especially if we can get enough of them. Artek now throwing down his second gold expansion, so quite a ballsy move from Koalk, Artek even here. Mortis is now researching his grooved spines and putting up his base back again, although there's not many minerals. Oh, there is quite a lot of minerals here, so it is worth it, and lots of gas, so definitely worth to try to get that back up. Doing a lot of harass with these Void Rays. They're getting a lot of kills. Each one has about 10 kills respectively, killing that Spire, and going to be taking out this Roach Warren very soon. However, these Hydras are coming in to take out these Void Rays. Come on, move them back, move them back, move them back. Oh, no. Oh, and he's going to lose these Void Rays. Oh well, it was worth a shot. I'm setting up this proxy pylon here next to the Zeldnaga Watchtower and moving my forces down to the south along with Fogey's. Fogey's now throwing up his first expansion. Should have thrown it down a little bit earlier, but there's not much else you can do. It's a replay. I'll tell him next time. Taking out this expansion as quickly as possible, since we don't want him to get back up and running. He does have a lot of he has a lot of buildings scattered everywhere, and could potentially get back in this game very quickly, but we're trying to suppress it as much as possible. Fogey now running up here to try and chase down all these probes. However, a lot of Zerglings and Roaches getting in the mix, as well as these Hydras coming from the north. Marauders, siege tanks as well, so this is going to be extremely bad for Fogey. However, I am reinforcing with these Zealots and Stalkers, getting a nice surround on those, and taking out as much as possible, getting a Guardian Shield up in order to get as much damage as possible, taking out these Mutalisks from the back as well, and continuing to reinforce from this pylon. Really important to keep reinforcing when you're in a position like this, otherwise you're not going to be able to effectively assault a base, especially when it's 3v2. So now everyone's just pumping as many units as possible. Artek's pumping as many Marines as possible. There's more Hydras streaming in from the top. There's more Zerglings streaming in from the west. I'm bringing in Stalkers from the south. Fogey does have these 4 Stalkers, however he doesn't have a proxy pylon set up. He should probably set up one here in order to warp in and get here as quickly as possible. These units now are just taking out these Zerglings again. There's another Hydra in play. More Stalkers coming from my side, trying to suppress them as much as possible. They're just running units to their death. They should clump up all their units and, you know, make a push on this force. There's basically 3 versus 1 if you assume that Fogey only has this one Stalker here. However, he is bringing more units in to reinforce. These Stalkers and these Sentries are all going to do a really nice job if they can get here in time. Lots of Hydras and lots of Zerglings streaming in, but these Stalkers are doing a fantastic job of negating as much as possible. Lots again of Zerglings, and going to move into this base in order to kill off as much as I can, trying to take out this spawning pool, since I saw that he was only producing Zerglings, and that is pretty much all Red can produce right now. So these are going to be his last batch of Zerglings for now. These Marines coming in the back to try and kill off as much as possible. These Hydras and more Zerglings coming in. However, I'm throwing another Guardian Shield down in order to negate as much of this incoming range damage as much as possible. We have thrown a shield down here in order to make sure that these Hydras cannot get up. And bringing in the units once more. I think I've thrown down... Have I thrown down 2 more gates? No, I haven't thrown down 2 more gates. I should have thrown down 2 more gates in this point and obviously saturated this base, but I haven't at the moment. Bringing these in for order to reinforce, trying to take out red as quickly as possible. Foggy's trying to saturate his natural at this point in time. And red's trying to build his spawning pool again so he can get some units out to reinforce. He's got a massive amount in the bank. He really should be trying to get his tech up a lot quicker and do a lot more against these units. However, these Stalkers are just ripping through these Hydralisks as well as these Zerglings that are going to be coming in. There's been constant, non-stop, relentless assault from their units at this point, but whilst they're sending them in such small waves, it's not going to do much. They do have a lot of infestors out, which could fungal growth quite a lot of these units. But so we shall have to see how that goes. Trying to take out his layer now, and that's going to go down. However, these infestors and Zerglings and Hydralisks are getting awfully close. They're using infested Terrans, so we're going to have to take out these as quickly as possible. Foggy now streaming in a lot of Stalkers from the north, as well as these Sentries, trying to take out this spawning pool again, so red cannot make any more units. Reinforcing with Zealots, since I assumed that he was going more Zerglings, since he did have an extra spawning pool, but I didn't notice that Foggy had taken it out. Going to take out these Infestors now, since they're on completely zero energy, pretty much. Can't do anything apart from spawn maybe 1 infested Terran each. Artek has got himself sort of back in the game now. He's got a few Marauders, a few Marines, but it's not going to be much against this force, especially with me reinforcing with more Zealots with their charge. They're going to rip through the Marauders quite nicely. Foggy taking out as much here, but getting pinned down by the Broodlings. Oh no. These are all on really low health now, and he's just getting picked off by these little Zerglings. My troops now just having a dance, a party. And red is effectively out of the game now. Oh, but he's rebuilding his base. He's got a hatchery up here, and Artek now has a few Vikings flying around, but without anything to kill in the air, they're not going to do much. I'm just picking off as many drones here as I possibly can with my units, and here come more Zerglings. Artek building another barracks now in order to try and reinforce and help his allies. However, Foggy has got a lot of Stalkers coming in from the south on this expansion, this gold expansion. He's going to try and take it out. Whilst that's happening, I'm continuing to push my way north through these bases. Not sure why I'm shooting those little lava. Go and shoot something else. Shooting these Hydralisks now, going to move in to try and take out this expansion down. Foggy did take out this northern expansion, so now he's coming to assist. At this point, we're just taking down as many Overlords as possible in order to try and Psylock them, but then we realise they're Red's Overlords, and he's pretty much Psylocked anyway, because he can't do anything. These Stalkers now moving into Teal, and it's called GG, and that is pretty much it. So, coming back from a 2v3 situation, red, blue, Artek is only just getting his stim pack. You probably should have got that a lot earlier. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. This is a bit of a fun match, nothing too serious. Just wanted to bring you something whilst I'm lacking in the interesting 1v1 games department. I'll try and get more 1v1s as quickly as possible. So thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you later.